go. Mic's on and we're away. Well guys, here we go. So we're talking about the 7 keys to authentic communication. These 7 keys are essential to act as the fabric that binds effective communication. And it's interesting, you know, because these were intuitively given to both Nook and I, my wife, and when I look at these and now more than ever, and I've been practicing this whole 7 key principle to effective and authentic communication for 7 years, and I understand why willingness is at the top, and then accountability, and then defenselessness and vulnerability in terms of emotional transparency, and then radical self-honesty, trust and gratitude. And before I started this video, I just went on YouTube and Googled how to effectively communicate. And I scrolled down and down and down and down and down and down and reading all the content, the description of each of the videos, and I got to 26 pages of about 5 or 6 on each page. So there's about 130 videos that I sorted through, and not one of them speaks about undoing the ego in effective communication. So the key takeout for me in that instant is that we're trying to fix stuff at the effect level, not at the cause level. So these 7 key principles here to authentic communication really takes it back to the cause level of how we engage in communication with our peers, family and loved ones, colleagues and so forth. So I just want to spend a few minutes and just roughly go over conceptually each of the 7 points, and then we'll start deep diving into the each one of these subjects video by video, one of these at a time, and we're going to unpack it and put it into real life scenarios. So just bear with me while I do a quick overview. So as I said, the 7 keys were given to us intuitively by you know, it was like, how can we effectively, and this is from my wife and I, how could we effectively communicate and be 100% authentic and not abandon ourselves, not abandon our buddy, and how can we make sure that we keep showing up with 100% authenticity every single time we enter a conversation, so we don't go off on 2 tangents, one in this direction and one in that direction, but we stay together and we continue forward with no miscommunication. So this whole thing around authentic communication is staying together, not having any misunderstanding, not separating, not abandoning ourselves, staying true to the truth and not separate thoughts, private thoughts, hidden agendas, filters in our mind that are blocking us from seeing or feeling or being open to new ideas or concepts from our buddy. Just that whole thing, it just sort of like goes from struggle to flow, from this beautiful symbiotic dance of openness and willingness and expanse to see and feel and receive a line of communication, a depth of communication, a bandwidth of communication that we haven't entered into before, that's going to liberate us and have us looking forward to connection time and communication time together with one another. So the first thing we need, of course, is willingness. If we're not willing to do this, then the whole thing's going to fall and crash right on the doorstep. So that's why this was put at the very top. We need to have 100% willingness to launch in and tackle this journey head on and be, you know, okay to be wrong, okay to revisit stuff, okay to heal stuff, okay to look at our own stuff We need to be willing. We need to be willing. I need to be willing to do whatever it takes. I don't put that on my wife. I don't put it on my kids. I don't put it on my, colleagues and friends. It's for me. It's not for them. So I need to look at this from my perspective. So these 7 key principles to authentic communication are for me to embrace into my language, my mind, my understanding, my communication threads with you guys, with everybody that I connect with. So am I willing? So just follow me on this, because it's important to do some self-reflection here too. With willingness, I look at it like this. Where in the mercury on the barometer, where am I with my willingness? Am I at 70%, 60%, 80%, 85%, 90%? Am I at 95%? No, I want to be 100%. So regardless of what confronts me or what comes at me or what's suggested or implied or spoken about or brought to my attention or asked of me, am I 100% willing to do whatever it takes to engage in this conversation now? Not put it off and say, oh, well, yeah, I'm happy to do it. I'm 100%, but now's not the right time. I'll do it later. No, 100% means I'm willing to do whatever it takes any time it's requested of me. That's willingness, and that's at 100%. So as we go through these, just judge yourself too on where you're at in terms of the mercury and the barometer. Is it 100%? And I don't want to lay blame, and I don't want to judge, and I don't want to project guilt on anybody. It's just good to make a mental note or scribble it down on a bit of paper. These 7 key principles, they're on the mirror in my bathroom, they're on the bench in the kitchen, they're on the dashboard of the car, they're around the edge of my computer on a sticky note, and I look at them all the time. So if I engage in a conversation and I can feel there's some resistance in me, I'll go, ooh, that's interesting. I'm resisting, transparency. I'm feeling a little bit defensive. So it's great to have them there as a reminder. So let's keep going. Accountability. Am I okay to be 100% accountable for all things that happen to me in the world? It's not happening to me, it's happening by me. Am I okay to be 100% accountable for that? In the whole Course of Miracle community, and with what's written in the 1,300 odd pages in the Course, it's succinctly, distinctly articulated that it's us that's responsible in our mind for all things out there. So it's not happening to us, it's happening by us. Am I okay to be 100% accountable for that? In other words, I can't be a victim, I can't be unfairly treated, I can't have a projected thought about somebody else and not take it home and say, well, if I see it's in my mind, it's because I desire it there, I want it there. So am I okay to be 100% accountable for that? I'm asking you too. Checklist as we go through this. Defenselessness. If you feel some pushback, you're going into a conversation and it could be a little bit hairy, a little bit uneasy, are you okay to be completely defenseless? Don't defend. That means don't justify, don't substantiate, don't explain, don't articulate a deeper meaning, and you don't understand and you need to hear the truth. And no defense, zero defense. Just go, okay, well, if that's what it is, forgive me, I'm sorry, I didn't know, done. Where are you in the 100% range in that, the mercury on the barometer? Are we at 85, 90? Is it unfairly treated? They don't understand, I know more than they know, something's not right. It's good to do a check. For me, I want to be completely defenseless 100% of the time. So therefore you'll see me, I'll never enter into an argument, I'll never defend, never justify, never substantiate. The 4th one down, vulnerability, that's a big one. Vulnerability, emotionally transparent. Sometimes we enter conversations and we can feel there's an emotional surge, and most parts we push it down because we think, don't lose your shit, We need to hold it together. Keep it together. Stiff upper lip, chest back, stand tall, be proud, blah, 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 blah. No, vulnerability means being emotionally available. Let it come up. Let people feel where you're at. Are you okay to do that? Where do you sit 100% on the mercury on the barometer? I know people who are emotionally paralyzed. They just cannot show emotion. And where do they sit with 100% on this? You know, and it's not for me to judge them. It's just a good one for you as a listener and an audience to this video, is to do a check with yourself at that choice point of looking at, you know, am I one of those that defend emotions? Do I invite the emotion? Do I block the emotion? Do I never show emotion? You know, what is that? So for me, again, I'm okay to cry in public. I'm okay to show emotion, you know, regardless of the subject, touching, moving, you know, sad, confrontational, whatever it is. I want to be 100%. So check in with that on yourself. This one's a big one. There's the big number 5, radical self-honesty. What would happen, and I ask you this, what would happen to you if you entered into every single conversation you'll ever go to from this point forward, and you'll never hold back the truth? The truth of the absolute, from left to right, the full spectrum of all things in the story, in the world, in the experience that you're sharing, or what's going on in the dialogue between you and another. Are you okay to go into that conversation at 100% and hold nothing back? And why here we put radical self-honesty is that it's about us showing up. It's not about them, the other. It's about us being radically self-honest and going, I'm okay to go there because I know that my salvation lies in having no private thoughts. Hold nothing back, no agendas, put everything on the table. And my wife and I have had many, many challenging conversations backwards and forwards, and I go to that place where I get to this radical self-honesty and I go, well, I know it's my salvation, so I've got to do it. And invariably, nearly all times, she'll come back and say to me, thank you for your honesty. So it's liberating to share these 7 keys in this experience, especially with another who also too is practicing. And even if they aren't, they will after a while, because of your commitment to integrate these 7 keys in your language and in the fabric that binds the tapestry of your communication threads. So I encourage you to stick with these. It's highly liberating. Do you trust? What does that mean? It doesn't really mean do you trust them, do you trust yourself? Because we have to move beyond that, because the small self can't trust. But the essence of trust comes down to this one thing. Do you want to control the situation, or do you want to trust the process? Just hand it over, take your bloody hands off the steering wheel, stop controlling, and trust the process. Because when you stop controlling and you trust the process, take your hands off the wheel, Holy Spirit will come through you. Holy Spirit will make himself available to you and to whoever you're communicating with. And the most profound things will be put on the table through you, to them, via your voice box, via your mind, however it comes out. And it'll be one of those aha moments. So trust isn't about trusting you or them, it's about trusting the process. Do you trust the process, or do you want to control it? Where are you out of 1 to 100 on the barometer? Do a check-in, just check that out. And lastly, and it's a reason why gratitude is on the bottom, number 7. Think of this. Again, 1 to 100, check in, Mercury on the barometer for you. Are you okay to be 100% willing? More. Wait for it. And are you grateful for your willingness? Do you have gratitude to integrate these 7 key principles into your daily communication thread. That's the reason why this little baby, this little bad boy is sitting on the bottom, because you've got to stitch gratitude in with each one of these. Do you have gratitude to be 100% accountable that the world's not happening to you, it's happening by you? So you can't be a victim. Do you have gratitude for your defenselessness? Do you have gratitude going into a conversation and being completely defenseless? Do you have gratitude for your vulnerability? You're emotionally transparent. Do you have gratitude for that? In other words, are you excited to go in and display and demonstrate those keys in this environment that would otherwise be contentious and somewhat, hard to navigate? Do you have gratitude for your radical self-honesty? Boom! People think, oh, I can't be honest, I won't have a friend left in the world. No, that's BS. You'll have lots of friends, because they're going to come forward and they're going to say, I can see it's challenging you, but I really appreciate your honesty, thank you. And you're going to share that with them, and they're going to go out and they're going to, you're giving them encouragement to also be a lot more honest. That's the gratitude. Go in with gratitude underneath each one. Do you have gratitude to trust the process and take your hands off the wheel from control? Are you grateful to trust the process? So there's our 7 key principles to authentic communication. Guys, we're going to jump in and unpack each one of these, one video at a time. So I trust you've enjoyed that high-level overview. This is the beginning of the series. It's obviously going to go on for 7 more videos to unpack these and put them in real life scenarios. But more than that, it's ongoing. So I'm going to lace in at the end of this how it continues, and we're going to delve into conversations about how dysfunctional the human language and the communication thread that we currently use to communicate with each other, how dysfunctional it is. And you're going to see these in action and you're going to go, wow, that's super liberating. I want to do it. So stick around. Let's get into the next video where we're going to unpack willingness. Cheers. Thanks for being on the journey.